Overnight, everyone started hearing the fake heiress's real thoughts. She called her mom an ugly, washed-up hag. She pitted her dad for not being able to sleep with his beautiful daughter. She thought her brother was a total sissy, always clinging to her. And right in front of her school bully boyfriend, she'd be fantasizing about the class valedictorian's 8-pack abs. Everyone's faces twisted as they watched her put on her sweet, innocent act. It was disgusting. I'm Chloe, the real Summers family heiress, lost for 18 years. On my first day back at the Summers house, the fake heiress, Ashley, fell down the stairs and accused me of pushing her. Instantly, my mother slapped me across the face. My father glared at me and yelled. My brother cursed me out. Even the housekeeper, Mrs. Davis, held a grudge, and from then on, there was never a plate for me at the dinner table. I thought things couldn't possibly get any worse. But I was wrong. Ashley spread the story all over school. That's when the bullying started. They'd corner me by the bathroom, forcing me to bark and crawl like a dog. My desk was constantly doused in pig's blood, reeking of a foul metallic stench. I've drunk water from the toilet. I've eaten mud from a gutter. My hair was chopped into ragged patches, and my clothes were ripped to shreds. I tried to ask my family for help, but they just thought I was paranoid, convinced I was so jealous of Ashley that I'd lost my mind. Chloe, no matter how much you hurt me, I've always defended you to our family, teachers, and friends. But what have you done to me? Ashley's eyes welled up, her delicate expression instantly winning everyone over. I clutched my bank card, which Ashley had secretly maxed out, and tears streamed down my face. I wanted to explain, but no one gave me the chance. My mother said, "You're saying Ashley drained your account, that she secretly spent the money you saved from your part-time job? That's ridiculous. Ashley gets a $20,000 allowance a month. Why would she care about the $2,000 in your account?" My father said, "We don't give you an allowance, and you're a high school senior buried in schoolwork. Where would you find the time to work a part-time job and save $2,000? Don't try to frame Ashley just because you're jealous that we love her. It's a cheap shot." My brother said, "You've been here for 2 years and you've done nothing but cause trouble. Your reputation at school is garbage, and you've turned this house into a toxic mess. You must have inherited your greed and cruelty from your adoptive parents. Can you just get out of our house?" Ashley sniffled and stepped in to stop Mason. "Brother, don't say that. Chloe is just acting out because she wants your love so badly. I'm fine really." As she said this, 2 perfect tears rolled down her cheeks, only making our parents and brother double down on their harsh words toward me. My brother told me to get lost. My mother said the Summers family had no place for me. My father took a deep breath and said he'd send me back to my adoptive parents the next day. But sending me back to those vultures, I'd rather die. I choked back the pain in my throat and shut down all emotion. I gave them a deep bow and said, "Mr. Summers, Mrs. Summers, and Mason, Ashley, and Mrs. Davis, thank you for taking me in these past 2 years. I'll be gone tomorrow." With that, I turned and went upstairs to my room, a converted attic. I buried my face in my blanket, crying silently while I listened to their gentle voices floating up from downstairs. "Ashley, don't be upset. Even if she is our biological daughter, we don't want someone so ungrateful. Don't blame yourself. She's just naturally selfish and greedy. With her gone, we'll have one less problem in this house. Sis, from now on, you're the one and only daughter of the Summers family." I didn't sleep a wink. At the crack of dawn, I stuffed the 2 old sets of clothes I'd arrived with into a cloth bag. Looking around the warehouse-like room, I realized there was nothing else there that belonged to me. I'd had a roof over my head for 2 years at the Summers house. I was grateful. I felt no resentment. I was about to turn 18. It was time for me to make my own way. I grabbed my bag, preparing to slip out unnoticed. But just then, Ashley appeared in front of me, still in her pajamas. I tensed up, my guard instantly going up. Seeing me flinch, she raised an eyebrow. "What, are you scared of me?" I didn't say anything. She cut right to the chase. "Don't think you're off the hook just by leaving. I suggest you go to school today and tell your teachers you're dropping out." "Do you have to push me to the absolute edge?" I shot back. She smirked. "If I don't push you, it'll be me who gets pushed. Chloe, even if mom and dad only recognize me as their daughter now. Your very presence is a constant reminder that I'm not their biological child. I won't be able to rest until you disappear for good. I bit my lip, clenching my fists. I'm not dropping out, I said flatly. She scoffed. Fine. You asked for this. With that, she pulled a small knife from behind her back. The blade was sharp, glinting under the light. I instinctively backed away, but then I watched in horror as she dragged the knife across her own hand. Blood dripped onto the floor with a soft patter. Then she gave me a sinister smile and started screaming in terror. Help! Help me! Chloe's trying to kill me. Stay away from me. It's not my fault I took your life. I didn't mean to. Mom and dad are good people. You should think about why you can't earn their love. Ah. The sound of frantic footsteps. The lights flicked on, flooding the hallway. The whole family was there in an instant. Ashley collapsed to the floor, and Mason immediately scooped her into his arms. My parents saw the blood on the ground, their faces filled with horror. Without Ashley having to say another word, they all pointed the blame at me. They stared at me with pure hatred, their eyes bloodshot, as if they wanted to devour me whole. I stood frozen on the spot. I had no fight left in me. Go ahead, blame me. I didn't care anymore. This was just my life, no concern, no affection. I've always just been a weed, with no one to depend on. Don't blame Chloe really. It's my fault for stealing mom and dad's love. Even though she stabbed me, I know she didn't mean it. Brother, please don't be mad at her. No matter what, she's still your real sister. Ashley cried pitifully. Her pale face was a mask of innocence. I stood silently, waiting for their judgment. I already knew what kind of script Ashley would use to force my parents to make me drop out of school. My brother roared at me. Chloe, when are you going to stop? Do I have to call the cops and have you thrown in jail before you finally behave? My mom screamed. What did I do to deserve this? To give birth to a monster like you? My dad looked at me with bitter disappointment. All those years without a proper upbringing really turned you into something less than human. And just then, a new voice entered my head. These idiots. All it takes is a little bit of effort to wrap them around my finger. I froze, my eyes snapping toward Ashley. But she was still a crumpled, tear-stained mess on the floor. For a second, I thought I was hearing things. I hadn't yet noticed that my parents and brother were staring at Ashley with the same stunned expression I had. The atmosphere grew tense. No one seemed to understand what was happening. But then, I heard Ashley's voice again. Chloe's such an idiot. 2 years ago, she at least tried to defend herself when I framed her. Now she's just gone silent. So boring. I even came up with a bunch of great lines. If she doesn't talk, how am I supposed to stand on my moral high ground and condemn her? And my mom, that washed-up hag, why isn't she saying anything? She's usually so good at twisting the knife. Keep going. Say the cruelest things you can to your own daughter. Break her heart. Drive her to suicide. My poor handsome dad, having to sleep with that vicious old woman every night. I wonder if they even still have sex. And this brother of mine is useless. He didn't inherit any of dad's good looks. He's such a sissy. Ugh, don't touch me, you're disgusting. I want dad to hold me. Dad, my dad, if only I could sleep with him just once. Ashley, a sharp cry cut through the air. It was my mother, glaring at Ashley. Her dad's face flushed an unnatural red, from anger, and maybe even shame. My brother's whole body went rigid. The hands holding Ashley pulled back as if they'd been burned. I stood there, completely baffled. Ashley's mouth hadn't moved, so how could I have heard her voice so clearly? My mother's chest heaved. For the first time, her anger wasn't directed at me. Her hands trembled as she pointed at Ashley. Ashley, eyes red and puffy, looked up pitifully. And Mom? What's wrong? My mother gritted her teeth, her whole body tensed. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. And then Ashley's voice echoed in our minds again. What is this old witch screaming about? Scared the crap out of me. Did she figure out I framed Chloe this time? No way. This stupid, brainless, ugly woman could never see through my act. She was so mad yesterday when Chloe accused me of using her card for a couple $1,000. Today she must just be so heartbroken that I'm hurt that she doesn't know how to punish Chloe. That has to be it. A vein throbbed in my mother's forehead. She looked from Ashley to me. Taking a deep breath, she tried to compose herself and said to me, "Chloe, don't leave. What I said yesterday, I was just angry. If you're upset about the $2,000 from last night, I'll give you the money to make up for it." I was stunned. For a moment, I was speechless with shock. Ashley panicked. "And Mom, you," she swallowed hard and continued, "you're not mad at Chloe anymore?" My mother shot Ashley a cool glance. "No. Weren't you the one always saying we should be a harmonious family? Chloe is my daughter after all. You don't hold a grudge against your own flesh and blood overnight. Besides, she's a senior in high school. It's a critical time. If she leaves now, where would she go?" Ashley opened her mouth, but she couldn't come up with a single word of protest. Instead, I heard her thoughts. What's with this old idiot? Why the sudden change of heart? So annoying. And Mason, that moron, start yelling. You hate Chloe the most, don't you? Why are you so quiet today? My brother Mason's face was a rigid mask. He looked terrified, maybe even a little scared. He forced a smile and looked at Ashley. "Ashley, or are you? What is it, brother?" Mason opened his mouth, a pained expression on his face. And nothing. But he stood up and put some distance between himself and Ashley. With no one to hold her, Ashley had to lean against the wall. She looked at Mason in confusion, batting her eyelashes. But beneath that sweet, innocent facade, her thoughts ran wild. Did Mason not shower last night? He stinks. Don't tell me he was jacking off and forgot to wash his hands. Ugh, so gross. How can I have such a disgusting brother? Mason's face grew even paler. He took 2 steps back. Without another word or even an excuse, he retreated to his room. After his door shut, I heard the sound of a faucet running. At the same time, I heard Ashley's commentary. He really didn't wash his hands. So disgusting. Gross, gross. My father was still standing nearby. He swallowed hard, his eyes filled with disbelief. Ashley walked weakly toward him, tears welling in her eyes. "Dad, I'm hurt. I'm afraid it'll scar I." My father's face showed clear revulsion, but he managed a paternal reply. "Okay, I'll take you to the hospital." Ashley seized the opportunity and linked her arm with his. And then that voice piped up again. "Dad smells so good. I wish he would hold me. Dad's in his 40s, right? And he still has a V-taper. It's so hot. Thinking about all the guys I've been with over the years, none of them had a body as good as my dad's." My father, who had already started walking toward the door, suddenly froze. He turned his head stiffly and stared at Ashley. She asked softly, "Dad, why'd we stop?" From several feet away, I could feel a dark aura radiating from him. He raised a finger and forcefully flicked Ashley's hand off his arm. The sharp motion made her cry out in pain, and the look on my father's face was one of utter disgust. Ashley was in shock. My father, however, forced himself to remain calm. "Ashley, I see it's just a small cut. You probably don't need to go to the hospital. Look, it's still early. I want to get some more rest. If you really want to go to the hospital, just call a cab." Without giving Ashley a chance to reply, he turned and walked away. Before he went into his room, he didn't forget to add, "Chloe, you should stay. We worked so hard to find our real daughter, and we certainly don't want you to leave like this. About yesterday, don't worry about it. We won't wrongly accuse you again. You should get some more rest. Once the sun is up, after breakfast, we'll have the driver take you to school." Ashley stood rooted to the spot, completely bewildered. I stood at the top of the stairs, dazed. But since my parents had told me not to leave, I guess that was reason enough to stay. Damn it. What the hell is going on? Weren't they about to kick Chloe out? This is so weird. Why did Mom and Dad suddenly have a change of heart and decide to be nice to their real daughter? Does this mean no matter how hard I try, I can't change the fact that they're related by blood? Ashley's brow furrowed. She glared at me with hatred. "Mom and Dad are just too embarrassed to kick you out, but you should know your place." She opened her mouth, trying to drive me away. My heart, suddenly, was resolute. Without giving her a second glance, I turned and went back into my room. Everything that was happening was so bizarre. The shock of being able to hear Ashley's thoughts had completely pushed aside my own sadness and grief. The moment I lay down, I fell asleep. When my alarm went off, the sun was already bright. Mason knocked on my door. "Come on, let's get breakfast. From now on, you'll eat at the table with us. You don't need to feel awkward. This is your home after all." It was the first time he had ever spoken to me on his own accord. He looked exhausted and seemed to want to say more, but he just hesitated and left it at that. Sitting at the dining table, I quietly ate my eggs, toast, and milk. It felt a little strange. Everyone looked drained. No one spoke. But amidst the soft clinking of silverware, I once again heard Ashley's inner voice. "Milk, bread, and eggs again? Are we that poor? Can't we have something different for a change? Mrs. Davis is so lazy. We pay her $10,000 a month, and this is what she serves? It's not fit for a human. Even a dog would turn its nose up at this." Mom and Dad were just being polite to that idiot Chloe, and Mason actually brought her to the table. "You're letting trash eat with you, and you can still stomach your food?" I could feel the gazes of my parents, my brother, and Mrs. Davis all land on Ashley in surprise. Ashley, oblivious, just kept her head down and ate. What a bunch of losers, pretending to be a happy family. Just you wait. After I graduate high school, I'm going to out Mason as gay. Then I'll hire some pretty boy to seduce Mom so she cheats first, and then Dad will divorce her. Then I'll get Dad drunk, we'll have a night of passion, and I'll use his guilt to take control of the entire Summers family fortune. Ahem, cough cough. My father, who had been drinking his milk, choked on it. My brother's face turned green with humiliation. Mrs. Davis stood frozen in place like a statue. Only my mother remained relatively calm. She tossed a pack of tissues in front of my father. Then my mother took out a card and gave it to me. "You don't need to work part-time anymore. If you need money, just tell me. This has a $20,000 a month allowance. I'm sorry I haven't cared for you properly before." I numbly took the card. Ashley's eyes practically bugged out of her head. Her hands, holding her chopsticks, were trembling. "Mom, I really didn't use Chloe's bank card." As she spoke, tears started to well up in her eyes. My mother responded coldly, "Right. That's in the past. Don't bring it up again." Tears streamed down Ashley's face. "But Mom, isn't $20,000 a month a little much for Chloe? She doesn't usually spend money, and I was just thinking that our family's finances are." Before Ashley could finish, my mother cut her off. "What's wrong with my biological daughter spending my money? You're not my real daughter, and I've been giving you $20,000 a month. If you're so concerned about our family's finances, then I'll just cancel your card, starting today." My mother was a woman of her word. She said she'd cancel Ashley's card, and she immediately pulled out her phone and did it. Ashley froze, speechless. My father and brother ate in silence, neither of them speaking up for her. Ashley looked completely dumbfounded, with no idea what to do. I looked at the bank card in my hand, a wave of warmth spreading through my palm. After breakfast, my mother instructed Mrs. Davis to move me into the princess-style suite on the 3rd floor. She also told her to buy a new set of bedding and a proper desk. Everything was to be set up to the same standard as Ashley's room. Sitting in the family's Rolls-Royce, my mind was still reeling. I could hardly believe my mother's transformation. As the car pulled away, Ashley shot me a venomous glare. She gritted her teeth and demanded, "What did you say to Mom and Dad?" I turned to look out the window, ignoring her completely. She spat. "Whatever you did, I'm warning you, there can only be one heiress in the Summers family. If you don't leave on your own, you can wait to die." Before, her threats would have scared me, but now my heart was calm, because I had realized that everyone could hear Ashley's inner thoughts, my parents, my brother, Mrs. Davis, and even the driver taking us to school right now. A foul smell suddenly filled the car. All three of us wrinkled our noses. I was going to stay quiet, and the driver, Mr. Peterson, seemed prepared to endure it, but Ashley pointed at me and yelled, "Chloe, can't you pick a better time to fart? That's disgusting. Mr. Peterson, open a window quick." Mr. Peterson opened the window. A moment later, we all heard Ashley's thoughts. "Good thing I'm quick on my feet. If Mr. Peterson knew it was me, My perfect little princess image would be ruined. Ugh, what's wrong with my stomach? I have to fart again. It must have been those snail noodles I ordered for takeout last night. They gave me an upset stomach. Those noodles stink so bad, and now my farts are just as rancid. So annoying. But at least I can blame it on Chloe. I could see Mr. Peterson's horrified expression in the rearview mirror. Ashley, meanwhile, shot me another insult. You stinky pig. I coughed softly and said nothing. Mr. Peterson silently turned on the car's air purifier. Oh God, I think I might have pooped a little. Ugh, one fart after another. It smells so bad. I hope I didn't get any on the seat. When he picks us up this afternoon, I'll sit in the front. If there really is poop back here, I'll just say Chloe did it. Everyone believes whatever I say anyway. Ashley's thoughts kept broadcasting to me and Mr. Peterson. We both remained silent, a silent pact between us. But after we got out of the car, I saw Mr. Peterson anxiously inspecting the leather of the back seat. I guess he was probably going to take the car to a detailing shop for a deep clean. As we reached the school entrance, a couple of Ashley's good friends ran up and linked arms with her. They were laughing and chatting. Then in unison they all looked over at me, standing a short distance away. Jessica asked, Ashley, why did you get out of the same car as Chloe? Lauren said, I feel sick just looking at that piece of trash. What were you thinking? Ashley sighed dramatically. It was my mom. She felt sorry for her and made me give her a ride. But she didn't even say thank you when she got out. She's so cold-hearted. Jessica made a disgusted noise. What a bitch. You offer her a ride out of kindness, and she actually takes it? That's a Rolls Royce. What if her butt ruined the seat? Lauren added sympathetically. Ashley, you're just too nice. That's why people like her always take advantage of you. I stood nearby, listening, waiting for the show to begin. Ashley held her friend's hands and said gently, Okay, let's not talk about her. The gifts you guys asked me to get from my international shopper arrived. I'll give them to you now. Ashley pulled 2 bracelets out of her school bag. They were strung with colorful beads that sparkled beautifully in the sunlight. Jessica and Lauren delightedly took the bracelets and put them on. How much were these? They're so pretty, Jessica asked. Lauren said, They must be expensive, right? I think this style was a limited edition from Swarovski. Oh, they weren't that much, Ashley replied. Only about 50,000 each. Jessica and Lauren were stunned. 50,000? That's so expensive. Ashley waved her hand dismissively. It's fine. You're my best friends. You deserve the best. Overjoyed and shocked, Jessica and Lauren couldn't stop admiring the bracelets. But in the next second, their smiles froze. Because Ashley's inner voice had just echoed in their minds. You guys really are a bunch of clueless idiots. You'd actually believe these 5 bracelets are a limited edition. But it's a good thing you're clueless. Otherwise, how could I use you? For just $5, I get one to do my homework, and the other to be my attack dog. These 2 minions are such a bargain. I'll have to get you more fake stuff to keep you happy. Though your taste is seriously terrible. What is that crap you have smeared on your faces? Oh well. The uglier you are, the more beautiful I look by comparison. Jessica and Lauren stood rooted to the spot. If the school bell hadn't rung just then, I think the shock of hearing Ashley's thoughts would have turned them to stone. In class, the teacher lectured. The students listened. Because Jessica and Lauren were still reeling from the 5-bracelet revelation, no one bothered me for once. I was actually able to study in peace. Well, almost. Even though no one was physically bothering me, someone else wasn't paying attention in class and was letting her mind wander. And her inner thoughts were a constant distraction. Ashley was reading a romance novel. As she read, she was mentally complaining about why the male and female leads hadn't gotten it on yet. This kind of romance novel is like an old lady's foot bindings, long and stinky. They could just get down to business. But no, they have to drag it out with all these misunderstandings and complicated relationships. I just want to see the guy strip naked and pin the girl to the bed. Sigh, it's really not as interesting as watching Japanese porn. These romance novels are just for naive little girls. Guy-focused harem novels are way more fun. I'll go rent one from the corner store after class. Her unfiltered thoughts drilled their way into everyone's ears. Over 40 students in the class frowned and glanced her way. Even the teacher, who usually gave Ashley a pass because of her looks, couldn't help but call on her to answer a question, just to get her to be quiet. At this point, I don't think people had fully realized they were hearing Ashley's thoughts. So after seeing her pitiful, innocent little face, the teacher felt a pang of sympathy. Just as he was about to let her off the hook, Ashley's inner monologue started up again. This idiot teacher. He sucks at teaching, but he walks around in his suit and tie like he's so handsome. Doesn't he own a mirror? He's going bald, for crying out loud. Sallow face, dark circles, a potbelly, classic signs of some serious health issues. I saw him at a brothel the other day. He was in and out in 10 minutes. Pathetic for a man. TSK. How does a married, middle-aged man have the nerve to crush on the young, beautiful English teacher? She's some big shot's mistress. If that guy found out he was taking upskirt photos of her, he'd be totally screwed. The entire class was in shock. Their heads swiveled back and forth between the teacher, who was practically vibrating with rage, and Ashley, whose mouth was closed but whose deafening thoughts filled the room. I calmly watched it all unfold. I could see the immense confusion in my classmates' wide eyes. The teacher didn't finish the lesson that day. He was furious and utterly humiliated. But there was nothing he could do. He had no one to complain to. After all, Ashley's mouth had never opened. How could he accuse her without looking insane? I watched the teacher leave, practically tearing his hair out. I also watched as every subsequent teacher left the classroom looking shocked, bewildered, and completely demoralized. Eventually, no more teachers came. The class president just had us study on our own. That's when the school bully, Kyle, decided to show up. Seeing there was no teacher, he casually swapped seats with Ashley's desk mate. As soon as he sat down next to her, he started laying on the charm. He gave her a yogurt drink, a small cupcake, and a cute, fluffy hair clip. He also said, "I got your text this morning. Did Chloe bully you again?" Ashley let out a soft sigh and shook her head, responding weakly, "I'm not their real daughter anyway. I guess I deserve it." This set Kyle off. "Don't worry. I won't let anyone bully my girlfriend. After school, I'll make sure Chloe regrets it." Ashley shook her head again, her eyes welling up. "No, don't. If Mom and Dad find out, I'll be in so much trouble." Kyle cut her off. "This has nothing to do with you. It's just me. I can't stand that Chloe." As Kyle said this, he radiated a kind of tough guy energy. It made Ashley's cheeks flush, and her eyes grew soft and adoring. And then, all of us heard a flurry of her inner thoughts. "Kyle's actually kind of hot when you look at him like this. It's just a shame he's poor and so old-fashioned. I asked him to get a room with me, and all he would do was cuddle. He wouldn't even take his clothes off. Sigh. Maybe he's got performance issues? That's why he doesn't react to me? I mean, Kyle's the school bully. I can't be his first girlfriend, but the guy doesn't even know how to kiss. TSK. Don't tell me he's a premature ejaculator like our teacher. Now that I think about it, the valedictorian, Ethan, is so much better. He's handsome, his family is rich, and most importantly, he has those broad shoulders and a narrow waist. The way he looks when he plays basketball is enough to make anyone swoon. Once Kyle has bullied Chloe into dropping out or killing herself, I'm dumping him and going after Ethan." Every single person in the classroom stared directly at Ashley. But she was lost in her fantasy, completely oblivious to the looks she was getting. Even if she did notice people looking, she probably just assumed it was because she was so beautiful and they were all her admirers. Only Kyle's face had hardened into a stone mask. He was stunned, speechless. "Kyle, what's wrong?" Ashley asked. Kyle wiped a bead of sweat from his forehead, probably trying to convince himself he had just imagined what he'd heard. He stammered. I just zoned out for a second. That Chloe, oh right, Chloe. You said she cut your hand with a knife today. Let me see the wound." Ashley held out her hand, her expression still pitiful and weak. But inside, her thoughts were sharp. "I cut it myself. It's already healed. What's there to see?" Looking at how dumb and clueless Kyle is just makes me think Ethan is even hotter. I can't wait to dump Kyle and throw myself at Ethan. I wonder if he's good in bed. Has he had a girlfriend before? The more reserved a guy seems, the wilder he probably is behind closed doors. Ugh, I really wish I could go home and shower. I totally pooped my pants a little this morning. Kyle's face finally cracked. He pulled his hand back. Then he silently returned to his own seat. Ashley was confused, wondering what had suddenly changed with Kyle. But she didn't dwell on it, and went back to playing on her phone. Her phone screen was a whirlwind of different content. And as she scrolled, her thoughts were a running commentary. This male model has a nice butt. I'd like to touch it. Why does this girl look so much like Jessica? So tacky. She's ugly as sin. How does she have the nerve to exist? Of all the girls, I really hate Lauren the most. Her family's broke, but she acts like she's some rich kid. It's disgusting. Even more disgusting than Chloe. Kyle is so useless. I even told him to find some lowlifes to rape Chloe, but he wouldn't do it. What kind of bully is he? He's afraid to commit a real crime. Honestly, how is Chloe so damn pretty? I'm so jealous. Good thing most of the girls in this class are just as jealous of her looks and good grades as I am. I saw Ethan put a letter in her desk once. What was in it? A love letter? My breath caught. I had no idea about that. Everyone turned to look at me. I was completely lost. My desk mate whispered, "Why don't you open your drawer and see?" Even the students in front of and behind me turned around, their curiosity piqued. The moment I opened my drawer, the class president, Ethan, rushed over to my desk. He snatched the letter out of my drawer. I froze. His cheeks were flushed. Everyone else in the room stared at him. I watched as his body tensed up. Was this really from you to me? I asked, confused. Ethan bit his lip. Everyone waited to see what he would say next. After all, this was our school's heartthrob. His father was a CEO. His mother was the school principal, and his grandparents were decorated national heroes. The line of girls who had written him love letters could probably stretch from here to Paris. Silence. Complete silence. But it only lasted for about 10 seconds before Ashley's thoughts kicked in again. What the fuck? Ethan actually likes that bitch Chloe. No. Imposible. That letter must be full of insults. Why would someone like Ethan ever like someone like Chloe? He should like me. Come on, Ethan. Tear that bitch Chloe to shreds and then come confess your love to me. You confess to me, and we'll be in bed tonight. I'll be on top, and you'll be on the bottom. I'll blow your mind. Enough. A sharp male voice cut through Ashley's fantasy. She still didn't get it. Ethan couldn't hold back anymore and pointed at her, shouting, "Ashley, I would never, ever like you. Stop dreaming." Ashley was stunned, her eyes instantly filling with tears. I didn't say anything, Ethan didn't have time to deal with Ashley. He looked at me and declared, "Chloe, I like you. And whether you accept me or not, that's how I feel." Then in front of the entire class he added, "From now on if anyone messes with Chloe, they have to go through me. I've got her back." With that, he glanced at the letter in his hand and handed it back to me. I was a bit dazed. Everything was happening so fast, I couldn't quite process it all. After school, I walked toward the gate in a daze. It wasn't until Kyle appeared in front of me that I remembered his earlier threat to teach me a lesson. I panicked and took a step back, bumping right into Ethan. He steadied me by my arms and said, "Don't be afraid. I'll protect you." His firm voice sent a warmth through my heart. Kyle approached us, his expression grim. I thought he was about to start a fight, but instead he gave me a deep bow. He said, "I'm sorry. I misunderstood you." He trailed off, struggling for words. "I don't expect you to forgive me, but I'm sorry. I won't bother you again." With that, he walked away. Next, Jessica and Lauren came over. They both looked guilty. "We're so sorry, Chloe. We had no idea Ashley was that kind of person. We hope you can forgive us for everything we did. We won't say bad things about you anymore. We wish you two the best." And then they left, too. Ethan and I watched them go, both of us letting out a sigh of relief. Ethan turned to me, his cheeks turning red. "So, have you thought about it?" I blinked. What? "I'm thinking of applying to UCLA, he said. "What about you?" He quickly added, "Or you can just tell me which school you want to go to and I'll apply there with you." My face felt hot, and my palms were sweating. It had been so long since anyone cared about what I thought. Facing Ethan, I felt a little timid. Not wanting to pressure me, he said, "Don't overthink it. Right now, we just need to focus on studying. We'll have plenty of time for everything else later." I didn't say anything. My mind drifted back through the past 3 years of high school, to all the times Ethan had helped me. Before, I just assumed he was being nice because he was the class president. I never thought, never dared to think, that he might actually like me. After all, far more people hated me. Now, because of this letter, because of his confession, my feelings were starting to change. Ashley was right. Ethan really was an amazing guy. How could I possibly say no to a confession from a boy this wonderful? Ripples of excitement spread through my heart. I was brought back to reality when we reached the Summers family driver. He politely invited me into the car. That's when Ethan finally stopped walking with me. I got in the car and waved goodbye to him. As the car pulled away, my thoughts were still on Ethan outside. I hadn't even noticed that Ashley was already sitting in the car. She snorted. "Don't think you're hot stuff just because Ethan likes you. A stray is still a stray. You'll never be a princess." I ignored her. She went back to fiddling with her phone. What's wrong with Jessica and Lauren? They actually blocked me. Are they crazy? What the hell? Jessica actually posted on her feed that I gave her a fake? That bitch must have a death wish. Why is my little puppy dog Kyle ignoring me now? Damn it, nothing's going right lately. Someone's leaving hate comments? What kind of psycho makes a burner account just to troll me? What a loser. The entire ride, Ashley was seething internally. Her expression made it obvious just how furious she was. But the moment she stepped out of the car, she immediately composed her face. But Ashley, composing your face is useless now. Everyone can hear your inner thoughts. That night, we all sat at the dinner table. Ashley once again mentally insulted Mrs. Davis's cooking. She criticized how old my mother's makeup looked. She commented on how her brother was a wimp with no masculinity. And she reimagined my father in a new fantasy, based on the romance novel she'd read that day. As for me, I just quietly enjoyed the drama, watching everyone's faces twitch. Several days passed. My parents and brother each made a trip to see a therapist. A few more days went by. They seemed to have accepted the fact that they could hear Ashley's thoughts at all times. Now, whenever Ashley put on her weak, pitiful act, everyone would either avoid her or, if they couldn't, shut her down to her face. "Brother, I want to buy a new purse, can you?" "No." "Mom, Chloe stole my skincare products." "I know I shouldn't say anything, but I'm worried she'll make a habit of stealing." "Everything in this house belongs to Chloe. How can it be stealing? And you don't need to try and drive a wedge between me and my daughter." "Dad, I've been feeling a little down lately. I was wondering if you'd want to get afternoon tea with me to talk and clear my head." No, Dad's very busy. And your mother doesn't like it when you and I spend too much time together." Ashley had no idea how things had gotten to this point. Just a month ago, she was the most spoiled person in the family. Now she was the most ostracized. Worst of all, she discovered she had no friends left. All her classmates avoided her like the plague. Some even openly mocked her, pouring pig's blood on her chair. She had become the new target of bullying, just like I had been. She cried. She threw tantrums. But it was no use. Not even her parents or brother cared about what was happening to her at school. As for me, I quietly started receiving my mother's affection, my father's concern, and my brother's protection. Perhaps because they finally understood the truth and realized that everything I'd gone through was because of Ashley's slander, they were trying to compensate. I couldn't say how much of their care was real and how much was guilt. But all in all, my life was finally moving in a better direction. I didn't have to worry about food or drink. I didn't have to worry about dropping out of school. I wasn't bullied at school anymore. In June, I took the college entrance exams. Both Ethan and I were accepted into UCLA. On the first day of school, my parents and brother helped me carry my suitcases and saw me to my dorm. After my family left, Ethan appeared in front of me. He said, "Ashley didn't get in. Your parents sent her to a boarding school. I heard that school has a serious bullying problem. I wonder how she'll manage." I raised an eyebrow. "Is that what you came here to tell me?" His cheeks reddened. "Today is your 18th birthday. I came to celebrate with you." I held out my hand. Where's my present? He took out a small device and placed it in my hand. This is a new program my dad's tech company just developed. You just type in someone's name, and you can hear their inner thoughts. I was shocked. So, what happened with Ashley? It's because you put her name into this. He didn't deny it. Then he said seriously, "Do you want to hear my inner thoughts?" I swallowed and took a couple of steps back. I'm a little scared. He smiled, tossed the small device aside, and wrapped his right arm around me. With his left hand, he typed his own name into the device. His mouth didn't move, but I heard his voice say, "Chloe, I love you. I want to be with you forever." My face flushed, my heart fluttered. For a moment, I felt dizzy with love. But wary of that little device, I still said to him, "That thing is too scary. We can never use it to test each other." He smiled, then turned and tossed the device into a nearby trash can. Then he asked, "So Chloe, does this mean you'll be with me?" I looked at him and gently pressed a kiss to the corner of his lips. The end.